Hello, I'm Chris474, and I'm back with another episode of Playable Silent Hill for the Game Boy Advance. Uh, let's see. Last we left off, Harry was in the school library, standing by a book. Now he knows where he needs to go. So let's see where he needs to go. As I journey there, I walk firmly, stepping forward one step at a time. I descend a staircase from which uncomfortably warm air flows and find an elevator at its base that invites me to descend even further. As its doors slowly open, once I enter, its doors close, and in the next moment, with a rusty clunk sound, the elevator begins to descend at a high rate of speed. Just how far down is it going? All I can do is go with the flow. Gradually, the elevator and I are enveloped in hot, humid air. The elevator stops, and I step off as its doors open. Beyond a short passage, a dazzling light emitted from a small room. A small room which has been awaiting for my arrival. In the center, the fires of hell burned, and everything made it look like this room was meant for prayer. And then it was there. It slowly moved around the enormous sconce from which flames and ash arose. The lizard looks to have suddenly mutated. Its outer shell is a mucous membrane type. It just stares at me, and with surprisingly comfortable speed, it looks for a chance to attack. Um, go with A. I don't know if this is going to be a mistake. Smoke and powder emit from my handgun. I am certain that I hit it. However, those armor-like scales more than fulfilled their purpose. This isn't effective at all. This is no good. I need to make my bullets hit somewhere softer. At that moment, a part of my memory is suddenly awakened. Definitely in the library. A. Option 11 is A. I remember that book I just picked up not too long ago. Its contents run about in my head. While paying very close attention to the movements of my opponent, I recall its passages. Effortlessly, the arrow flew, piercing the defenseless maw, and the lizard fell down dead. All I can do is draw my opponent closer. Each bullet that hits its body only seems to increase its strength. I am running. My entire body is soaked in sweat. The heat from the flames and the large amount of perspiration are working together to rob me of my emotional strength. And then my feet finally get tangled and I fall to the bone-dry floor with a thud. Oh, my supply of bullets is running out. This is my limit. I turn around. Its enormous mouth is there, measuring about 4 meters, and open in all directions. It was only for an instant, but I thought of that passage again. The arrow flew, piercing the defenseless maw. Go with A. I can no longer hesitate. I readied the gun as calmly as possible, aimed at the inside of its mouth, and quickly pulled the trigger. Over and over, the sound of gunshots rang out from my weapon for as long as I had ammunition. And then I lost consciousness. When I came to, I found myself in the middle of a dark room. Where is this? I wondered to myself. The monster from before has vanished. I heavily stood up, then waited motionless for a bit until my eyes came into focus. Somehow, somehow this looks to be the boiler room. It is oddly quiet. Maybe I was dreaming. My very exhausted body seems to have also recovered somehow. The low hum of the boiler strangely calms my nerves, and then I sense the presence of a person and I shift my gaze. There was a girl standing there. She was wearing dark blue clothing, and her light brown hair was neatly combed. The girl was just staring right at me. Once I noticed her and began to step towards her, she completely disappeared, as if her body just dissolved into the air in the room. I was alone in the room again. What was that? A strange feeling of relief. After standing for a bit, I let out a long breath and then placed my hand on the door at the entrance. Sunlight is shining into the hall of the school building. As usual, the snow is still outside, but I am gripped with a strange feeling of relief, as if cancerous cells had just been removed from me. Filled with relief, I slowly walked towards the exit of the school building, and then I learned that Cheryl was not here from the loud sound of the church bells that seemed to call out to me. I begin to run towards the church on a road half covered in mud. Snow falls above my head, some of which freezes my hair as chilly air flows by. When I reach the church, I push open the heavy door without hesitation. Whoa! Ah! The cross is mounted on the front wall. Long benches are lined up on both sides of a small walkway. It was as if time had stopped for this familiar style church. In front of the altar, a sly-looking woman with cold eyes looks down at me with an eerie grin. As I walked up to her, stepping one step at a time, she gazed at me without blinking. She looked as if she had predicted that I would arrive. Were you ringing that bell? The woman snorted with a umph. I've been expecting you. It was foretold by Gryomancy. Gryomancy? Gryomancy. 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 What are you talking about? I knew you'd come. You want the girl, all right? Right? The girl you're talking about, Cheryl? My eyes grew wide. I see everything. You know something. Tell me. Stay back. The woman held the palm of her hand out at me, then lowered her chin in a way that suggested, please calm down. Nothing is to be gained by floundering about at random. You must follow the path. The path of the hermit, concealed by Flauros? What? What are you talking about? I asked once more without hiding my bewilderment. Here the Flauros, a cage of peace. You can break through the walls of darkness and counteract the wrath of the underworld. These will help you. Make haste to the hospital before it's too late. The woman held up a strange object and then softly placed it on the desk of the altar. Wait! Don't go yet! We'll go with A again. What could possibly go wrong? She lives here. I choose to believe her story without objection. All that remains in the church is the reverberations of the sound of a door closing. I go after that woman. I am convinced that that woman definitely knows some secret of some sort. However, the knob on the door that she went through will not turn at all. It must be locked from the other side. Damn. Now I'm the only one left in the church, almost as if taken from a nightmare. This space has heat, this warmth. It feels like it is protecting me from something. That is the best way to describe the heat. I move away from the door and begin walking to the altar that woman was at. The object the woman was just holding has been placed there. The Flauros. That is certainly what that woman has called this. I try picking it up, and then I place it back on top of the desk right away. It is power. The overwhelming power of the gods rests inside this four-sided object. It was a sensation like an electrical current passing into the palm of my hand, and then power moving throughout every nook and cranny in my body. I pick it up once more. This time I calmly take it into my hand and then place it in my pocket. For some reason, I am convinced that this object will help me find Cheryl. Excuse me one moment. Okay, that's better. I pick up the key that was next to the Flauros, open the door of the church, and rush out into the heartless snow again. Hospital? That woman certainly said something about one. Al- Alchemy. Al. Alchemilla Hospital. The only hospital I could find on the map was that one. I could see my breath as I exhaled while I headed towards the entertainment district. The bridge to the entertainment district has been raised so that boats can pass by it in the river below. In other words, it is split in the middle and is fixed in a raised position that makes it look like the Japanese katakana character. That whatever that's I don't know what the katakana character is called. I enter the nearby drawbridge control room, place the key I was holding into the control panel, and forcefully turn it to the right. While emitting a sound like an old woman laughing, the bridge finally begins to lower, inviting me to the entertainment district. After crossing the bridge, I shudder. The temperature is gradually declining, or maybe it's just a result of the thing inside me that produces nervousness and fear. On this wide road, there is not a single motorcycle running. I'm running right down the center of it. I continue forward. Alchemilla Hospital should be on the right. An old building appears in the thick fog. On the signboard, Alchemilla appears in faded letters. Its eeriness caused me to hesitate for an instant, but in the next moment I place my hand on the cold gate. I open the heavy hospital gate and then open the door directly to my right. It has entrance written on it. The inside of the hospital is wrapped in silence. To the left there is a reception area in which various papers are neatly placed on a shelf. Waiting benches are lined up along the back of this hall, and a television is pointed at them. I do not feel the presence of any patients, or even any people. Only faint light pours in through the windows from the cloudy sky. The hall is filled with a trace scent of alcohol, which penetrates my nose. I begin walking. After passing through the waiting room, I reach a long corridor. I open the door marked examination room. Whoa! At almost the exact same time as I opened the door, a man inside jumped up out of his chair. He's holding a handgun in his right hand. I... Team, let's go A. hid behind the door in a panic. Wait! I hold my right hand out to try and stop the man. Hold it, stop. Don't shoot, wait, I'm not here to fight. The man calms down and lowers his readied right arm. My name is Harry Mason. I'm in town on vacation. I said all this without pausing, and then the man took a deep breath and began to speak. Thank God, another human being. Do you work here? I was truly relieved. Silent Hill was just become a habitat for strange monsters. Those words showed his candid questioning of the situation. I'm Dr. Michael Kaufman. I work at this hospital. So maybe you can tell me what's going on. The man who called himself Kaufman once again stirs in the chair he is sitting in. I really can't say. I was taking a nap in the staff room. When I woke up, it was like this. Everyone seems to have disappeared, and it's snowing outside. This time of year. He looks off at the floor of the examination room. There on the floor, the corpse of a still warm monster lay on its side. Something's gone seriously wrong. Did you see those monsters? Have you ever seen such aberrations? Ever even heard of such things? You and I both know creatures like that don't exist. Yeah? Then I turned to face him as I realized something. Have you seen a little girl anywhere? I'm looking for my daughter. She's only 7. Short black hair. She's missing? I'm sorry. With all those monsters around, I hardly doubt that she's... Sorry, I didn't mean to alarm you. Your wife, she's here with you? She died 4 years ago. Now it's just me and my daughter. I see. I'm sorry. Well, I'd better be going. I can't just sit around here and do nothing. So long. Good luck out there. Bang! The examination room door shuts powerlessly. Dr. Michael Kaufman. Oddly enough, I have completely memorized that name. Huh? I suddenly notice there is something on the floor that looks like a white scrap of paper. What is this? I pick it up. Letters have been disorderly scribbled on it. Arrival tomorrow morning. Be prepared. What is this? Option 15. We'll go with A. I carefully look around on the floor, but it doesn't appear that anything else interesting has been dropped. I look all around the examination room. Until a short time ago, this was just a normal room in a hospital, with just various instruments and tools all about, each aptly arranged per function. Only people have been erased from this normal scene, making the situation unnatural. I leave the examination room. I pass through the medicine room and reach a planked floor corridor that silently extends in an L shape. I moved forward and found that there was an elevator with a large door at the end of the corridor. I tried pressing the buttons beside it. Nothing happens. It looks like the power is off. There are several doors in the corridor. I begin opening each one in order. I open the door marked meeting room, head inside, and close the door behind me. A large table rests in the center of this room, and I notice that there is something glittering on top of it. Where? I grasp the light green key, leave the room, and once again step into the chilly corridor. The next room looks to be the kitchen. I guess that the food for patients is probably unprepared. I guess that the food for patients is probably prepared here. Various bronze cooking utensils are neatly arranged in order on the stainless steel countertop. It does not appear that anything terribly important is here. I carefully look through the various cooking utensils. Inside a large pot, there is nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. While continuing to search to see if there might be some clue here or not, I noticed that on the far wall Various objects have been scattered about. I carefully move forward on the wet floor as not to slip. Something is there. I reach out my hand towards the thing in front of me. Pick up the pet bottle or the kitchen knife. It's option 16. Let's go with B. Pick up the kitchen knife. I picked up a knife that appears to be for kitchen use. Perhaps this would come in handy for something. I only have a limited number of bullets. Well, how many bullets have you fired, dude? I mean, it looked like she only gave you the handgun and no extra clips. So that's what? 12, 15 bullets? And you fired a lot. You fired 3 times at the first creature. You fired at all the little dudes. You fired a couple shots at the thing in the with the mouth. So I'm surprised you have any bullets left. I only have a limited number of bullets. When the time comes, I might be able to use this as a weapon. I left the kitchen. I crept out in the corridor once more and stood in front of the door that was closest to the elevator. What was that? Oh. The door opening and closing. I opened the door, and the reverberations of the sounds of its opening and then closing shake my eardrums. The walls are made of concrete, and a few steps in a staircase leading to the basement extends like the folds inside the body of a snake. It is dark and difficult to see, but it looks like there is a door at the bottom of that staircase. Be brave, I muttered to myself, leaving only the echoes of my footsteps. I descend the staircase to hell one step at a time. Then I open the door, leading to darkness. I could see that the electricity was most likely out in the entire hospital. I pressed the switch on the flashlight on my chest and tried lighting the area. It is creepy, and yet there is nothing noticeably out of place. Chilly air drifts from the cold concrete, and it seems as if touching it would completely rob my body of its warmth. While moving through the corridor, I try opening the doors as I come to them. One opens with a creak. Emergency generator is written on the machine that occupies most of the room. To reach the second floor in a blob, and above, it did not look like there was any method other than using the elevator. So without hesitation, I turned the machine on. I immediately head for the elevator. I press the up button. The heavy sound of the motor and the sounds of the metal parts coming into contact with each other almost sound like intertwined screams. With a ding, the elevator stops and it's slowly open. And its doors slowly open. The inside of the elevator is large. It seems to be about big enough to accept 3 hospital beds. Buttons for each floor are lined up to the right of the elevator door. There are marked 3, 2, 1, and B from the top down. First, I head to the second floor. However, after I step off the elevator, I find that the door connected to the corridor that leads to the rooms on this floor is locked. With no alternative, I try heading to the 3rd floor, but I find that it is in the same state. Well, what now? I have already tried moving to every floor. With nothing else to do, I re-entered the elevator and then could not believe my eyes. Of the buttons for each floor, 3 was definitely the highest number just before. In spite of that, a new 4 button has been added. The elevator door opens with a familiar sound, and I step out onto the 4th floor. Again, I think. A condition extremely similar to that which I encountered after passing through the basement in the clock tower at the elementary school was present right in front of me. Dark red rusted walls, metal grated floors, and a ringing in my ears that seems to creep up from the depths of hell is a menace to my mental state. I open the door in front of me, and a large corridor extends beyond it. I very carefully move forward while keeping my eyes fixed on the wall. Could Cheryl be here? The only way to find out is to search this elevator. Is to search this place, not elevator. I can't read today. Huh? I can hear something in the darkness in front of me. It sounds like the groan of something dragging on the ground. The owner of that groan is slowly closing in on me, but I cannot see what it is. For sure, with the faint light of my flashlight, I instantly yeet. I'm in danger. I try running away. However, I can hear the owner of that eerie groan pursuing me from behind. I thought that maybe it was echoing out the walls, but that is not the case. I became aware of my situation. I am clearly surrounded. There was nowhere to run to. I have no choice. It is probably not human. I firmly grip the gun, position my finger on the trigger, and begin to walk towards it with the gun ready beside my face. Eventually, something white enters my field of vision. I adjust aim the flashlight on my chest with my hand and shine light on it. The monster has a very large hump on its back, which twitches and moves as if it were alive. In one hand it holds a knife, which it waves as it approaches me. In the instant I readied my gun, the monster began to run. By the time I realized this, it slashed at me. I instantly dodged the attack, and thanks to that, damn, I kick it in the face with the bottom of my shoe, and it falls down on its back. Then it begins to stand for its next attack. I close my left eye and steady my aim. Even after one shot hit its movement. What? Even after one shot hit, its movement does not change at all. I fire more bullets at it. It is laughing, in a voice great enough to shake the entire world. It laughs as its face twists and contorts. I cannot give up. When the final bullet loaded into my gun hit it finally stops laughing. This time it is face down, and I begin crushing it with my foot. This is insane. Another monster approaches from behind the corpse of the first one. At this rate, all the bullets in the world would not be enough. All I can do is run. There's a monster in front of me and a monster behind me. Doesn't sound too optimal. Let's go with A. Let's go for the front. I begin to run towards the monster in front of me, evading the large swings of its knife. I run down the dark corridor, occasionally stumbling. I see a staircase leading down. I race down it, knowing not whether if something is waiting for me or not at its base. I'm thinking about Cheryl. Even if she is held prisoner somewhere in this hospital, there is no guarantee that I can rescue her. Even if she is held prisoner somewhere in this hospital, there is no guarantee that I can rescue here. In fact, there is no reason that the staircase I am descending should lead me to Cheryl. I begin to think that all my current actions are all meaningless. However, generally speaking, since I arrived in Silent Hill, since the day before leaving for Silent Hill, even longer ago, since the day I met Cheryl, perhaps I have had no choice in my actions, that they have been determined by the, what? Okay, I'm starting to see typos now. Just translation poor choice in wording they have been that they have been determined by the someone's will. You mean by that they have been determined by someone else's will? As I continue to the base of the stairs, I contemplate. What if my life up to this point had just been on one track? As I descend the stairs, my ears begin ringing again. The ringing is so forceful that it cannot even be compared to before, and it forces me to squat down. What in the world has happened? Perhaps I have opened the door to hell, a door that should never be opened. Something is clearly changing, and it is for the worst. If you mean for the worst. Going back would not be permitted. I must move forward. Forward, I put my hands together on my head and then squeeze my temples tightly by using my elbows. The ringing then begins to sound like a demon is whispering in my ears. However, it doesn't stop. I blindly begin to run, even if I am to die in this mad land. I must save my beloved Cheryl first, believing that the answers are beyond the door. I know that I must discover at least one clue. Several overlapping square figures are shaking in time with the sound of my heart. It is the wall at the end of the area. Another wall lies perpendicular to it. There is a door present on this wall with a plate on it that says storehouse. Some chemicals have been placed on the table that is next to the door. There are 3 beakers of different sizes in a test tube. The test tube contains a liquid that is of a different color to that which is in the leftmost beaker. I found a memo. To create it, you must come up with deciliter of liquid and pour it into the test tube. No more or no less, the man has said, but there are no graduations on the beakers. This makes it impossible to come up with 1 deciliter using these 3 large beakers. Explanation of controls. Use the D-pad to select a beaker that contains liquid and then confirm with the A button. Then choose the beaker that you wish to move the liquid to and press the A button to move the liquid. Using the 10 deciliter, 7 deciliter, and 5 deciliter beakers, you must create an amount of exactly 1 deciliter or deciliter. The door won't budge an inch. Oh, hmm. Um, oh, got it. Well, that wasn't okay. Harry mounted the chain on the door with the completed liquid. The door slowly opens with a click. You know, the seeing those words in Japanese on the screen made me think, if this is not fully, if this fan translation isn't fully complete, then there'd be no way I could finish it without. Because I don't know Japanese. I don't. I don't. I don't know how to read Japanese. Harry melted the chain on the door with the completed liquid. The door slowly opens with a click. Inside the storehouse, nothing important looking stands out. I carefully edge between the simple metal shelves that have been placed here in a specific arrangement. However, nothing is here that makes this room worthy of being called a storehouse. I am drawn toward the cabinet in the back of this room. This is because I found the presence of the wooden cabinet strange and unsuitable for this simple room. I approach the cabinet and try to open it. However, it will not budge. Well, I will. I will look. No, let's go with C this time. I will look on top of the cabinet. I stood up straight and looked on top of the cabinet. Other than a layer of dust so thick that it almost appeared as if a cloth had been laid on the cabinet, there is nothing of interest. Ah, my field of vision shakes violently. I lost my balance and fell to the floor. I landed on my butt hard enough for it to be unpleasant. Ah, ta 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 ta. There I discovered something odd. Countless lines have been bored into the old flooring, and fiber-shaped wooden chips are exposed. It looks as if someone has moved this cabinet, and then returned it to its original position. The marks on the floor are still fresh. They tell me that some other human probably came down here. Is there something beyond this cabinet? Using my body weight, I slowly push the cabinet from its original position. The existence of the inviting door behind the cabinet seems completely natural. So of course I place my hand on it. The room is very inorganic. While shining my flashlight about, I moved through the room and eventually discovered a grate in the floor. From between the bars and the grate, I can see a staircase that leads to a lower floor. Wow, this goes down far. The grate makes a clunk sound as I open it. It is quite heavy. Even though I am sure of my strength, I do not believe that I could pick it up. After opening the grate enough so that I can pass through it, I gently place one foot on the staircase that has appeared. Slowly and cautiously, confirming each step as I go, I descend the staircase to a mad place in which light cannot reach. Finally, I reach a wide room much wider than I imagined. I guess this based on the echoes of my footsteps. Run. I am running through this eerie space that lies in the basement of the hospital. It is lifeless, and there is no light. All I can do is run through it. Does this world have an end, or did it even have a beginning? Everywhere I go, all that I do is solve the mysteries that appear one after the other, and then move on. I understand this, and expect that the same situation will continue. Still, all I can do is move forward. My thinking always results in this conclusion. This door has awaited me. I slowly turn the knob. The inside of this room is different from the ones I have encountered up to this point, and I can feel life in here. There are traces and a sense that someone was in this room. I softly pick up the picture from that was picture frame that was displayed on the desk. Alessa. That is engraved on the picture frame. I gaze at the picture. It's more like it's engraved on the picture itself and not the frame. It is a face that I think I've seen somewhere. I try to remember where as hard as I can, but in the end I cannot remember it all. But I'm sure that I have met this girl somewhere, and more than just once. A diary has been placed next to the picture frame. I reach out with my hand. 20. Option 20. Pick up the diary. Something is written in the diary. April 15th. From today, this will be my new diary. Lisa secretly gave this to me as a present, and it means that soon I should be able to take my bandages off. A bird landed on a branch of the tree outside my window. I gazed at it for a bit. Seeing those beautiful colors, I thought again that it must be spring. I wish I could play outside like the other children. It is now afternoon, and they have come again. I pretended to be asleep, and it looks like they did not notice. They talked quietly as not to be heard outside my window, out of my room. I do not understand the meaning of what they discussed. They never talk in this room, I thought. April 16th. Someone is talking outside my room. It sounds serious, but it doesn't seem to be about me. Perhaps it's because he doesn't want to disturb me. Even the hospital director has not come to see me much lately. I don't like the director very much, so I'm honestly quite happy. April 15th. P.S. By some strange chance, I learned a certain person's coming to visit me. April 17th. Everyone has been in a rush for some reason since before sunrise this morning. Something about a dead person coming back to life. Does that really happen? It is a frightening story, and because of that, my meal was a little late. The cold soup is disappointing. Suddenly I remembered him. Maybe he has forgotten me, and then... But I definitely remember him. Lately, I think of him often. I want to see him. It looks like my visitor is coming in the evening on the day after tomorrow. Before then, just once. April 18th. It is finally tomorrow. I will not tell anyone about this. If I tell anyone, they will probably strap me to my bed. Before they arrive, the friend that can share my feelings, the only one. I wonder if she would realize this. Tonight I will go to bed early. April 19th. I must get out of here. For the first time in a while, I wore my favorite pendant. Does it look good on me? I will write about the results here tomorrow. April 20th. The last page is blank. I place the diary under my arm and prepare to leave this room. However, my eyes once again return to the picture frame that the diary had been placed next to. She was all alone, but I have Cheryl. The girl in the picture is appealing to me for something. In the painful silence, I can feel a spiritual message. After wavering, I removed the picture from the frame and slid it into my pocket, and then I left the room. Alessa, and just who is she? And why was her picture on display in the deep basement of the hospital? And where was that strange feeling of a life that I sensed in that room coming from? I am unable to figure any of it out, and so I am irritated. I head for the examination room on the first floor. All the mysteries of the hospital are surely prepared in that room. Believing so, I race up the stairs while having difficulty breathing. When I open the door to the examination room, I feel the presence of a person stop moving. The inside of the room is dark. Someone is here. Okay, that is a good stopping point for this episode. I'm still enjoying this. This is pretty interesting. I haven't played too many visual novels, but this is kind of fun. So, thank you everybody who watches this. Have a good day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.